What's going on? I just got back from seeing X-Men Apocalypse, and oh my god, that was such a good movie. Quicksilver was so bad. Wait, I didn't just go see X-Men Apocalypse. I just went and saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Ugh. I'm gonna try and get this in one take. What do I get out of this? Alright, so first of all, I wasn't having that good of an experience beforehand because I read all the reviews, I watched all the videos, I watched all the reviews from Shimozo, from Collider, from Jeremy Johns, Chris Stuckman, you name it. I watched most of it just to see what the general idea of what the general movie was about. And to be honest, it didn't sound like it sounded like a movie that if I dropped if I dropped all of it, I probably could like it. But to be honest, the trailers weren't even exciting me to begin with either. Like the trailers were really, really bad. Like the fact of them introducing the whole okay, this is not a spoiler because it is in the trailer, but in the trailer they show how apparently the ooze it can turn it can turn turtles into humans. Boom. That in itself, the whole reason that makes them Ninja Turtles is because they are proud of who they are, right? That irritated me. Like that was a moment where I was like, "This movie looks terrible. This movie looks bad. The rest of the trailers are bad." Now, I'm gonna try and get my general thoughts. My general thoughts of this movie is that the Ninja Turtles were portrayed almost to perfection. The Ninja Turtles were portrayed very, very good. The CGI was incredible. I'm a guy where if like I can tell when it's CG and when it's not. When I can tell when it's practical, I can tell when it's CG, and I can tell when it's good CG, and I can tell when it's bad CG. This was really, really good CG. Like it didn't take me out of the movie at all. It didn't take me out of the movie when I saw the turtles. Like it just made me think, oh, thank God they're finally back. Oh God, we don't have to sit through April O'Neil again. Like that was really good for me. Like I loved the turtles. I loved the look. I love the fact of seeing the conflict between both both the entire team, I guess, between Raph and between Leo. Leonardo was such a good way to introduce the fact that he's not perfect at leading a team. He's not perfect at this, and he's still trying to figure all this out. Well, yet Raph is still like going through all this stuff, going through like being accepted and being able to accept what's right, if you can say how that is, and be able to take his brothers and be able to learn how to love his brothers and learn how to be part of a team and be able to focus in unison during missions during the battle, right? And you had Donatello. I feel like Donatello was really good in this movie because they kept him who he was. They didn't really challenge him at all. They kept him as the smart guy. They kept him as the brains. They kept him as the brains, but he still did some awesome stuff. Oh wait, sorry, they didn't do anything in this movie. Okay, I'll touch on that later. Michelangelo, who's still my favorite Ninja Turtle, he's still really good in this movie. They nailed him perfectly. I was laughing every time he cracked a joke, almost every time he talked, because I love the way he's portrayed. I love the way they portrayed him. I love the fact that every time Donatello would come out, or Donatello, every time Michelangelo would come out, like it could be either dark or grim, but yet he would lighten it up. But all right, I love the Turtles. I feel like they did the Turtles really well. That was something that we were missing, because that was something we were very missing in the first one, because their whole thing was that, oh, it's a Ninja Turtles movie, but wait, oh no Ninja Turtles? Who? Oh, April O'Neil. Okay, that's cool. Oh, oh, what? 30 minutes into the movie, and we don't have any Ninja Turtles, and then yet you finally see them. They're only there for a split second, gone. Then you have April O'Neil going around. Like I was happy to see that she wasn't front and center. She was put in the back seat, and the Ninja Turtles were the main cast, and yet everybody else was side characters. Everyone else was supporting characters, and yet still the Ninja Turtles can be portrayed perfectly, but everything else can be complete utter garbage. This was okay. Halfway through this movie, I got a really bad headache. I'm still going through it now because I want to get all my anger and all my hate for this movie out right now. I know that sounds really bad, but the thing I I tried accepting about this movie is that when me and my buddy walked into this movie, like I was surprised because I was wondering and I heard how bad it was and I heard that it's good for the fans, but yet I was so surprised to see like so many people in the theater to the point where me and my buddy I was like, oh dude, where we gonna sit? Like where we gonna sit? Like, oh okay, over there? Yeah, oh wait, no, there's someone right there. Like right type deal. Like that's only for movies that people are excited for. I was not expecting people to be excited for, but uh, we were the only teenagers in there. The rest were little kids, maybe 10, maybe was the oldest, maybe, and then you had their parents, and I have to try and think that this and other people have been saying too. This is not a movie for teenagers. Probably for certain teenagers, yeah, it could definitely be teenagers for friends. But for me, for maybe it's because I have more knowledge of movies and stuff like that. But still, this was very hard one to sit through. But yet there were kids laughing, there were parents laughing, having a great time, which that's really good. I'm happy that this movie at least brought in some appeal to the mass audience that they're gaming for, because I like the fact that they didn't take too dark tone, like they still kept the Ninja Turtle aspect of the first one, but kind of like that it was a darker take in that, right? I kind of like that. Like, I guess darker is everything after Chris Nolan, but still, like, but this time, they made it so it was happy, it was fun, like, yeah, we need to get everything. We need campy lines. We need Casey Jones smiling all the time, even though he's talking about how his life sucks. Like, not a good play, man. Like, this, like, it felt like a kid's cartoon. And I guess I can give them credit for saying that. Kids, this is a movie for kids, but yet it feels like a cartoon, but I'm not sure if that's what they were going for. It certainly seems like that what they're going for, but I love cartoons. I still say I love animated stuff today, but I can tell, I know when it's a good cartoon, I know it's a bad Saturday morning cartoon. And I personally haven't seen the 90s cartoons, and I also do know that there are a lot of nostalgia, a lot of Easter eggs you could say in this movie for the 90s and for, well, maybe not for the comics, but in the 90s cartoon, Saturday morning cartoons, and that's very nostalgic for other people. Like, that's good, but that's not me. Like, you see all this stuff right here? This is what I geek out about. Like, this is what I geek out about. I'm geeking out over comics. I'm geeking out over like how my characters are going from the silver screen to this. That's, I think, how people are going to react to this. Like, they're taking, instead of my Iron Man coming from a comic book to a movie, like they're seeing like their cartoons that they would get up and have a bowl of cereal every morning, and they're seeing that on the big screen, and like it's how they remember it. But like I don't know what it's like, but I'm hoping it was better, man, because this was sad. I've never, no, sorry, I've never been in a movie where maybe even Twilight, you know. Okay, this is one of the only other movies that I have been in the movie theater, like asking, when is it gonna end? Like, I'm done with this. This is sad. And if my buddy wasn't there, I don't think I would have. Okay, okay. If I knew that it wasn't good, I probably would have walked out. I probably would have, but I didn't. But I wanted to sit through it to see how bad it was, which is probably the wrong call because I got a big headache. Like this, around the midway point, this movie gave me a huge headache. And I was like, this movie ain't that good. The giant headache ain't helping at all. Because my head was pounding. My head was, maybe it was just a bad experience, but my head was pounding. My head was like, I was like really mad. And then to see like complete, utter crap unfold onto the screen. Like, okay. I already talked about the Turtles. I already talked about that. I already talked about how it was all probably made for kids, and it was all they probably made for nostalgia beats for the adults that were taking their kids to see the cartoons that they grew up in. But I gotta mention, okay, Michael Bay. You may have not directed this movie, but it seemed like for other movies that you were on set a lot, and that it seemed like that your imprint was right there, like you can see right there. And this was even stupider. And then when April O'Neil was walking, you can see in the trailer too, when she's walking through the mall, trying to find this guy, and then she's like, oh, like I don't understand, like she has a wig on, she's got a pantsuit and all that stuff. She's like, oh, I'm gonna magically take I'm gonna take my blazer off. I'm gonna steal this skirt. I'm gonna steal this skirt. I'm gonna take my jeans off. I'm gonna put this skirt on. And I'm gonna tie my shirt. I was like, why? Like, if this is supposed to be a kids movie, why are you putting that in there? Unless it's for the teenage audience. And frankly, I couldn't care less, because it was just me saying, oh great, Michael Bay. Like, Michael Bay did this. I can see his imprints on this, and this was super sad to see all that. And I was like, being able to sit in the theater, I was like, why? Like, there's really no sense for him. And then same thing with all the other human characters, but I'll give my hate to April O'Neil. Like, I'll give that I'll give that a stop, because I gotta talk about the main reason why I wanted to see this movie was Casey Jones. Stephen Amell, I love Stephen Amell. He kicked off the whole start of the the DC universe on TV that has grown and that has prospered into amazing. I have not seen any of the other shows better than that, better than The Flash, better than Legends of Tomorrow, better than Arrow, and yet it's so sad when I came to this movie just to support Stephen Amell, to support the fact that, yeah, I know this movie may be garbage, but I will still want to go see it just because Stephen Amell was in it. And I gotta tell you, he was okay. He didn't bother me as much, but I was sitting in the theater and I was like, dude, come on, man. This is, like, I felt sorry for the guy for being attached to this, but yet he could still say he's the Green Arrow. I'm Casey Jones. Oh, from that movie that sucked? Yeah. On the Green Arrow, though, which is so cool, but it's still disappointing to see that he gave a solid performance. I felt like that his tone-wise, his performance was off a little bit. Because I even heard people say that too. When he's talking to the police chief, and he's saying how he is, and he's also saying how all of this is going down, like, and how he, like, when the man, how do I put this? Okay, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but this will be a spoilers review. But this is a spoiler. Because Casey Jones, his backstory is that he is a cop, he is a corrections officer, I guess, and he was transporting Bebop and Rocksteady. Oh, I'll talk about them later. Horrible. And Shredder onto the crate, and they're getting them to get transferred to a different prison. And the Foot Clan shows up to go save Shredder and get him out of prison and all type deal. And then you have the Turtles come and beat him up and come to try and stop him, right? Casey Jones was present through all that, and it was sad to see when, after all that, and the police chief talks to him, and he's explaining everything, but it seemed really goofy, it seemed really weird, and then, it's so weird seeing him throughout 4 seasons of Arrow being so serious, carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and yet, when I see him being goofy, and I see him being... It was off-putting to me, because I know how good of an actor Stephen Amell is, and I know that it would have been great to have a darker version of Stephen Amell with, the brighter tones, but he was dark throughout all of it. Not dark. He was lighthearted, and he was smiling almost the entire time. When he's talking to her and saying, I want to be a police commissioner, I want to be a commissioner, I want to be a detective, I want to be this, I want to do that. But yet I can't, because everybody thinks I'm a loser. Everybody thinks that I'm terrible at my job. Everybody doesn't believe in me. But yeah, he's going like this. Nobody believes in me. I want to be a detective. But yet everyone thinks I'm a loser. Bro, come on, dude. to me was saddening because how much I love Stephen Amell. Like that to me saddened me at points, but hey, action was cool. Wish he wore the mask more. Like that would have been cool. Hockey scenes were cool. What else can I talk about this movie? Vern the Falcon, right? He was actually kind of funny in the first movie. I thought it was kind of funny, but I feel like that was weird how they made him like super popular and they made him like almost the mayor of the city and they made him like the poster boy for the city. I was like, that's why did you do that? Like that's kind of weird. Like that kind of was kind of off putting to me. And then like he was still kind of he was still kind of funny in some moments, Will Arnett. But I feel like you know what? He didn't bother me, but I was still like, what are you doing here, dude? Like makes zero type sense, right? And then like the other human characters, man, Shredder really got me mad in this movie because it was cool. I thought it was cool at least that we got a Shredder that can really throw down and we got a Shredder that can really test the Ninja Turtles limits and that could really test all of them. Like I thought that was cool with like the blades, the like with the Wolverine Snicket Dakin blades. Like I thought that was cool. Like the fact that he was able to go around and go toe to toe with the turtles. Like that was bad, dude. That was so cool. But yeah, I could still in my mind. I was like, we really don't know who he is. He doesn't really have a character. And then when I heard that he got a cast as a, I don't know who he is, but I do recognize the actor that he is a big Asian actor, and I was like, oh, that's cool, man. Like you're gonna give him more storyline. They did give him more, but he got dialogue and he got lines, but all the cool stuff that you got from there that you wanted to blend with this wasn't there. He never fought once. The only thing he did was the Snicket a couple times. You know what? 3 times, and that's including both of them. He Snicketed it once to I don't care, Bebop or Rocksteady, one of them, to scare them, and then he did it to Krang at the end when he's about to throw down, and then Krang freezed him, and I was like, we're not going to get a Shredder that's going to throw down, that we're not going to get a Shredder that we can see fight, do anything at least. The Foot Clan got awesomer scenes than Shredder. Like, that sucks. Like, that's really, really sucks. Because I was really hoping for a good Shredder in this movie. Other characters, like... okay. Bebop, okay, you know what? Before I talk about them, I want to talk about Baxter... Okay, Baxter, the scientist in the movie. I even forgot his name. Baxter, whatever, right? I think that's his name. Man. Poor Tyler Perry. I feel like... I don't understand how Tyler Perry can go, like, from this. I saw it in the trailer when he's like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, this is gonna be good. And he presses the bed. And I was like, that's really weird. Why is he so like, And then when the first time you meet him, he's like super calm and collected. And he's like, I don't know, Miss O'Neill. I don't think anybody would recognize me in this type deal. And then when he starts talking to him, and then when the first time that he encounters something scientific, he's like, and then his voice, almost like Apocalypse did, he's like, his voice got higher, 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 higher. And then he started screaming off the top of his lungs like this. Oh, this is gonna be good. Oh, look at that. It's a rhino. I hated it. Like, it was so sad. Like, that was bad. Ugh. Like, it was super bad. It was super sad to hear all that. And then Bebop and Rocksteady, like, this was this sucked for me because, well, I'm not a fan, but I was expecting, like, some cool action scenes at least. And we didn't even get that. And it wasn't to the fact that they were super cartoony. They were super corny. They're, like, super, I wouldn't say like, bad acting, period. Like, that's bad acting at the worst. And, like, oh, I guess you can see it, but like it's amazing when you can see good acting through performance capture, but it's even worse when you can see worse acting through performance capture that looks amazing. But yet their characters were already kind of on my bad side. They were already making me mad when they first showed up, and like, cause like I was like, okay, great, they're supposed to transform, they're supposed to get mutated, but yet going through all that, oh look what happened here. They're on the truck with Shredder, and they're talking, making jokes, and they're acting like 10-year-old. They're acting like 10-year-old kids. They're acting like 10-year-old kids in man-year-old bodies, acting like that. Like one of them. Oh my god, that was so terrible. one of them farted, and then the other one grabbed his butt and then like sniffed it, and then like turned him around, and then when he's still farting, right, and he pushes it everywhere else. I was like, that was when I was like, okay, this movie is total. This really sucks. This movie really is. It had good things in it. It had definitely good things in it. It had the Ninja Turtles, but another gripe that I had about it was that we really didn't see much. We never saw them fight. We got a cool fight scene with Casey Jones, but that was cool. We got the end fight with Krang, which I'll talk about in depth later. But everything else, well, one of the Ninja Turtles movies in the 90s, they barely whipped out their weapons, and they barely did that, and they never fought, right? I believe that was Secret of the Ooze, but yet it still was a cool movie, and it was still really good. This was like, why aren't they flipping out their weapons? Why aren't they fighting? There was literally a scene in this movie where they get on a plane. The 4 Ninja Turtles get on a plane, and then they whip out their weapons. I was like, oh snap, they're actually going to fight with 50, I'm talking like 50 Foot Clan soldiers in the cargo bay of the plane. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome, right? Because we already saw the Foot Clan soldiers go to town on like the police officers in the beginning of the movie. And I was like, they're gonna, this is gonna be awesome, right? They cut to the outside of the plane, and then you see the door. You see the door that they got into it. All you see is, Foot Clan, another one. You see bodies flying out, and I was like, I literally went like this to the theater. I was like, what? That would have been money there. Like, that would have been salvageable. Like, that would have been awesome to see them fight, and we didn't see them fight. And even the Bebop and Rocksteady scenes, the one that comes after that in the river and all that stuff, they were swimming, and they were chasing, and the closest thing to Ninja was Leonardo kicking him, and then kicking the crate that they were trying to grab into the air, and then Mikey sort of caught it. Like, that was the closest thing to fighting that we got, and that whole thing was just them running away, dodging the cannon thing. 22 minutes. This is really bad. This is a really long video. Okay. I want to talk about the end. Krang, from the beginning of this movie, when I saw him on the screen, I was like, okay, it's Krang. Is it as bad as Yeah, it's as bad as everybody was saying it is. Again, super corny, super terrible voice. Like, I don't understand why they had to change it so much with the tone. Like, it works good, but, like, the thing what Marvel does is that they don't make it super corny, they don't make it super campy. They make it funny, they give you humor, but they also have the dark elements. Right? But yet, they blend those. They did not blend it at all. They kept the humor was shoved in your face. They kept the corny and the campiness of the TV show, and they just shoved it down your throat like it was so bad. And then when Krang showed up, I was like, this is terrible. Like, this is terrible on movie standards, but this would be awful on TV standards, like, for free, right? Free, right? Like, people pay to see these movies, and yet you're getting this bad. I was like, man, like, and even the end fight, like, other people made this comparison on YouTube too. That they did not. The end fight that we got in the first movie was the Turtles and then fighting a big robot, which was Shredder, because that's all he was in the movie. Then we had another one, just had a brain inside of it, right? Had a brain inside of it, and then they were fighting, and then yet fighting on a rooftop, fighting a sense of sponsor, and the way they beat him is that they all combine their abilities or their weapons, and then they beat him, and then he's done, and then they shut down whatever they shut down I think they shut down like the toxin in this one, and then they shut down the beacon, and they put all the Trinodome stuff, like the spaceship, back into the other portal, and they closed the portal. Like, that's like that. Another thing was that the plot was really stupid. the plot could have worked. The plot definitely could have worked, but like the whole campiness and the whole corniness really made it fall apart. Like, because it was actually a really good. I thought it was fine up until we started meeting the human characters, because the turtles were the heart and soul of this movie. They were team players in this movie. They were the main characters in this movie. Like, and aside from being sidestep in the first one, and they were the real main characters of this movie. And they really made this movie, to me, like, made this movie likable. But yet I can't like it because of how awful and how terrible everything else was. Like, the storyline, it was okay. But yet the corniness and the campiness totally destroyed it. The whole storyline is that Krang took the scientists and he took Shredder, and he's trying to bring this giant Death Star like thing, not like a Death Star, just because it's a round ball, and trying to make it so it can. I don't even remember. Like, he opens a portal. He has to grab these three things that when they combine, they make a portal for Krang to come out of, and then like different dimensions, and like a big ball, like that's coming out in pieces of a ball spaceship, and it's assembling in the sky, and then they have to stop it. Like, and I don't understand why by the end of the movie, everybody else, because the whole thing was that we gotta find Shredder, we gotta make sure Shredder doesn't get in the wrong hands, we gotta make sure Shredder. And then as soon as they find out, or it's explained to the audience that, oh, Shredder was just telling Krang, oh, Krang, that's the character, that's the guy, we need to go stop Krang. I was like, who? How do you know this? Like, apparently Krang is an alien and he's from a different dimension, like that's what I took away. What? How? Like, what? On the computer and it says Commander Krang? Like, Donatello, did you look that up on Wikipedia? The Toronto Dome? Oh, that's a big giant ball spaceship. And oh, who commands it? Krang. This is a very frustrating movie. This is a very hard one to sit through. This is a movie that I haven't done this in a long time, where I literally looked at the screen when at the end when they're on the rooftop and they just got off of the big thing, and everything got pushed away, and they land on the rooftop, and like they're cheering and they're happy, and the Ninja Turtles. I was like, oh, and then it starts to, well, maybe it didn't fade, but it switches. I was like, oh, thank God, it's over. Like, oh my God, oh, like me and my seat, I was like, oh, thank God, it's over. Like, oh, crap. It keeps rolling, and then through all that stuff, it keeps on rolling, and then it goes on and on. I think it went on a little too long. Like, they give them the keys to the city, secret agents of Turtles, because, like, only a few select people know in the police department, like, that they're Ninja Turtles, and, like, they give them the keys to the city, like, they show, oh, we do appreciate you. Like, that was a big thing, too. Like, the Turtles in this movie were, like, very... Like, I'm glad that they got that, like, that they were very, like, self-minded, like, they didn't want to, like, they wanted to be normal, like, they didn't want to be this, they wanted to be something else, and yet, they wanted to be human, they wanted to be accepted, because they didn't like the fact that they had to hide in the shadows, that they had to be like Batman, like, they didn't like that, but yet, I thought it was a good way to close it, where, people do appreciate it, because they saw that, and, like, people do appreciate, like, we have people that appreciate you now. Thought that was really good. Thought that was a good way to end it. But yet, certain parts of this movie can't overwhelm me or win me over for how much I really do not like this movie. Closing thoughts is that I really liked the movie. I didn't really like the movie. I hated the movie. I really liked the Turtles in the movie. I hated the rest of the part. I hated April O'Neil. Thought Casey Jones was okay, but even in the parts of that, I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, this is terrible. Like, you don't have any purpose of being here. Get out of New York and go back to Star City. Go call up Barry, and he could take you there himself, right? And then the other thing is that all of this could have been potential for a great movie, but for little kids, but not for me. Not for adults, not for teenagers. this is definitely a movie for kids. This is definitely a movie made for 10-year-olds, for little kids who still watch the cartoons now, and maybe for adults that grew up on the nostalgia on the '90s TV show. And this is gonna be a 30-minute video, so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna close this out saying that this is a movie. I like the Turtles in the Ninja Turtles movie, but I hated everything else. And I'm gonna give us a ranking system because my channel is Skywalker 501st. I'm gonna start ranking these movies on how many clones I would give, how many clones out of 10 that I would give in support of this movie. I would only give, I would give this movie a 2 point. I would only give 2.5 clones, 2.5 clones out of my legion to this movie. I would only give 2.5 clones out of this movie. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to give, but I'm not giving my Rex. I'm giving you the other people. I'm giving you the ones that slaughtered the Jedi in Revenge of the Sith. I'm giving you those guys that walked with Anakin. I'm not giving you Rex. I'm not giving you Rex. I'm not giving you fives. Like, this wasn't a good movie. This definitely wasn't a good movie. I had problems. Like I said, my score would be 2.5 clones out of the 10 that I would normally give a movie. That's my thoughts on this movie. I know I was gonna say that I started this video saying that, oh, X-Men Apocalypse. I was originally gonna do that as a recorded video. I still need to record that, and that's my review of that movie. I did love that movie. I just needed to get my hatred out for this movie, and I was very, very disappointed by this movie. And I hope you liked what this was. I'm sorry that it's a 30-minute long video on a rant, I guess. But that was my thought on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Honestly, really didn't care for it. Honestly, liked the Turtles, but everything else was a complete awful garbage. And this is going on way too long, so thanks for watching.